I welcome the opportunity to speak on the Social Welfare Bill. I just want to point out a few things and remind people about the economic situation this country finds itself in. It's all very well to come in here full of bluster and inaccuracies and turn into kind of a mini heckler, and without accurately or truthfully representing what is the economic context in which this country finds itself in. A few things we can be certain about. And the first thing we can be certain about in the context of this debate: Fianna Fáil bankrupted this country and destroyed Irish society in the process. Now, the major task of this government is to restore economic sovereignty and restore our reputation abroad. We lost one, and the reputation abroad was disgracefully attacked, disgracefully lost by the exploits of Fianna Fáil. That's well documented. They paid an electoral price for it, and perhaps will do for many, many years to come. Their plan for national recovery had, in this particular context, in terms of social welfare, had allowed for an extra €190 million of cuts. So the immediate task that Minister Burton had was to readjust that figure. The figure still isn't pleasant, but nonetheless it is a reminder of where we would be if there wasn't an election earlier this year, and the type of economic policies that Fianna Fáil are going to bring in to the area of social protection. That is the party, and those are the people that voted in this chamber this time last year to take €5 from people on the blind pension. And quite frankly, I take no lecture from someone who comes into this House and chooses to forget that they spent 14 years destroying the economy while minding their cronies and building a massive property bubble, one that ultimately crashed and has left egg on faces of hard-working people the length and breadth of this country. There are a number of elements in this budget, and it is a tough budget, and there's no denying that, but there is an element of fairness in this budget that wouldn't be there if our party wasn't in government. And I want to remind people in the opposition businesses, the opposition benches, for carers, for widows, for pensioners and for job seekers, their rates of payment have been protected. And when the Taoiseach Tánaiste earlier this year addressed the nation after 100 days in power, they gave two very clear commitments. One was that basic rates of social welfare would be protected in the budget, and the second was that income tax wouldn't be increased. And they've held true to their word. And that, given the economic context that we find the country in, is an outstanding achievement.
No, made them one.
Got to be a Margaret. The other point I would like to make is this. Once you look at the social welfare, the social welfare changes, and you look at the rates of payment, and you compare them to the payments in the north of Ireland, it's very important to say this. Sinn Féin are in power in the north, and the pensioners there get €114 per week. Well, you know what? Thank God that motion was debated and passed at Sinn Féin's Ardèche, because if you were in government, the people who depend on social welfare would be a lot worse off. If you look at job seekers in the north, in the south they get €188 a week if they're over 25, in the north €78.47. In conclusion, because I know time is scarce, I want to say this. There was an analogy thrown out there by Deputy Higgins last week about Labour backbenchers being elves. Our job is to represent the people who elected us. When people voted for us, they voted for us because they knew if they elected us, we were going into government. We could have taken the soft option or the cowardly option and stay in the opposition benches. We didn't do that. Now, I take particular offence to his term elves. Now, elves are very strange people. They're very small. They dress unusually. They don't smile, and they go off ranting and raving. And the description of the elf is more indicative of Deputy Higgins himself.